So let's move on to discussing the rules and in-game performance of the Leviathan pattern Siege Dreadnought. So in the 30k Space Marine Legion list, the Leviathan is a heavy support choice and is a Dreadnought Talon. So for a single slot you can take up to 3 of these mighty war machines, and at 270 points a pop without any options, that can end up being a very expensive slot. If you splash out, should I say, on the weapon options, you can easily spend over 1,000 points. So, yeah, perhaps a good or a bad thing there. 1,000 points on just one Dreadnought Talon. So, the actual unit characteristics on this, well, it's weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, strength 8, front armor 13, side armor 13 as well, and rear armor 12, so no vulnerability to small arms fire there. Initiative, attacks and hull points are all 4. So 4 hull points on a Dreadnought is almost unprecedented and makes it an extremely tough unit, particularly when you combine that with its reinforced adamantic shielding, which confers a 4+ invulnerable save both in close combat and at range. So that gives it some very solid survivability, particularly when fighting a certain type of an opponent, which I will come to later. So for basic 270 points, you get the Dreadnought armed with a pair of heavy flamers in the torso and 2 siege claws, each with an inbuilt melter gun. For an extra 5 points, you can add the siege drill, which we looked at earlier. We'll just bob it back on now to remind ourselves. And that's an option well worth doing if you want to take the close combat route, because for 5 points you get a weapon that has both Wrecker and Armour Bane. So that combined with the Siege Claw, which has Severing Cut, which allows you to do additional wounds to infantry models. Neither are specialist weapons, so you can always attack with a weapon that is most preferable to your target, be it infantry or armour. And that way you keep your 4 base attacks, 5 on the charge, coupled with its very high combat stats, make it deadly in close combat. Other Dreadnoughts don't stand a chance against it, really. Particularly when you look at its other ability, which is called Crushing Charge. This means it strikes with 2 Hammer of the Wrath attacks if it makes a successful assault. And it gains +1 initiative, so it moves up to initiative 5, so it will pretty much be striking in front of all Marine heroes and on a par with enemy heroes. Sorry, faster than Marine infantry, faster than Marine, on the par with Marine heroes. This extra point of initiative, I think, brings us to one of the intended uses of this knight, or what I see as being a very effective use of it, and that is to fight enemy Knight Titans. With the drill equipped and the Armour Bane rule, and its high weapon skill and initiative and invulnerable save, you have a unit here that has a very good chance of destroying a Knight Titan in close combat, and surviving a subsequent reactor explosion, which is obviously got to be considered as well. Knight Titans normally, with the exception of the Lancer, Knight Titans don't receive an invulnerable save in close combat, so they tend to tear each other apart in very short order. And even if one wins, the chances are it could easily be destroyed in the explosion that follows of the other knight. Whereas the Leviathan, with its invulnerable save, has a way of surviving that. So that is one of the clever uses of this Dreadnought. Okay, other weapon options. So before we do the arms, let's just do the supporting weapons. So I've equipped this with the optional twin-linked Volkite Collider. So Volkite Colliders have got a 30-inch range. I put it on to give it some medium-range infantry and light vehicle hitting power. You can swap each of those weapon slots out individually. So you could take 1 Flamer and 1 Collider if you wish. So it's got great versatility in that regard. Up on top here, we have a Phosphex discharger. This is a one-shot weapon. It fires 3 Phosphex bombs. And they have all the usual nastiness that goes with a Phosphex type shell. So against any form of heavy infantry, be it Marines or Terminators, deadly. Very effective weapon and well worth the extra points, which is only 15. So, arm-mounted weapons. Well, firstly, after the 2 claw options, there are 3 wet range systems. The first is the Leviathan Storm Cannon, which is a 24-inch range heavy auto cannon, which gets AP3. It's heavy 6 and it has the Sunder special rule, so very effective against light armour. So other dreadnoughts, it will be brilliant against. A number of vehicles, and with the strength 7 and AP3, it's perfect for dealing with certain Mechanicum battle automata, particularly the Castellax and the Domitar class. And indeed, I think this unit was added specifically into the Marine Legion to give them a superior option to those battle robots, which, if you've played Mechanicum, you will know are very effective Marine killers. The second ranged option is a Cyclonic Melter Lance, which is an 18-inch strength 9 melter gun with heavy 3. So we all know what that does. Effective. And then the final weapon, which we will just swap back to now, is the Gravflux Bombard. So, short range weapon again, 18 inches range. It has a large blast. It has a variety of other rules which I like and why I bought it. So there's no cover saves can be taken against this weapon. Wounds. It has a graviton collapse rule, which instead of being the normal test under your strength on 1d6, you have to do that on 2d6. So much more potent against infantry, particularly when coupled with the AP2, which makes it deadly to Terminators and the standard Marines alike. It also has a rule called Torsion Crusher, which doubles the amount of hull point damage done. That's also means it can one-shot certain light weapons and kill off other vehicles more quickly than would otherwise be possible. So that's a good weapon, and it also comes with the usual sort of graviton rules around creating dangerous and difficult terrain areas for the following turn. So it comes with a very large number of weapon options. Each range weapon you add replacing a claw means you lose an attack. So in this configuration, this would only have 3 attacks base. If you choose to put 2 ranged weapon options on, then you're down to 2 attacks. So that's a bit situational. I mean, you can see an argument. I can see an argument for putting 2 storm cannons on as a way of mulching Castellax. However, a lot of the value of the Leviathan lies in its close combat capabilities. So personally, I wouldn't go for more than 1 ranged weapon to maintain a decent number of attacks. So I think that's all I want to say about the Leviathan Pattern Siege Dreadnought in the rules. I think that's everything. Oh, one other thing I missed, it comes equipped with a lot of basic gear. It has frag grenades, which is unusual for a Dreadnought, and it also has extra armour as standard. It also has a move through cover rule, so that will assist it in getting into melee quickly as well. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you've got any questions, comments or observations, leave them down below and I'll be happy to answer. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.